Training video in the Lotto X and Weekly Money Multiplier series. This video is going to go over chart indicators and talk about the EMA and SMA lines we have on our charts. As you can see here, I have a 5-minute chart and a daily chart, both up. I like the short-term time frames, 5, 10, 15, 30 on one chart that has a couple of different indicators. And then a daily or a 195 on another chart, which has slightly different indicators, but not much. They're all really based on the same thing. Let's start with the large time frame indicators. So we'll go here, a chart on TTD. This is the daily chart. You'll see there's 3 lines here that are colored. This is the 8 EMA, the 21 EMA, and the 34 EMA. The significance of those are their Fibonacci numbers, and they act as resistance or support in a lot of cases. As you can see, TTD today roughly came off of the 34 line. It pierced through it. It had a rough morning and then started to come back. And you can see in this particular case, the 34 EMA and the Bollinger Band kind of coincide here, and that's a pretty strong place to take a bet, which we'll get into here in a minute. So these 3 lines again, 8, 21, 34, and these light gray lines that are all the way around the price action of the stock that seem to expand and contract are based on volatility. These are the Bollinger Bands. These are affected by our TTM squeeze is created by, as covered in an earlier video, when the Bollinger Bands contract inside the Keltner channels. Keltner channels are not on this chart, but when we see a contraction in the Bollinger Bands, that means the volatility, the stock is resting. That's when we get our squeeze, and we know that there's a move either up or down coming when that squeeze fires. And we don't know what that squeeze is, but we position during that time and try and capture a piece of that move. So we have the Bollinger Bands, and on the hourly, we have the 200 SMA, which is this long dotted line. This is a good sort of resistance and support line as well. When the stock is trading above that line, it's bullish, and if it's below that line, it's typically bearish. You can see the stock bounces off that line occasionally, and that's in the larger time frame charts. We don't have that in the smaller time frame charts. So here above, this is a 5-minute chart, same TTD. Slightly different indicators here, but not by much. We have the 8 EMA and the 21 EMA. Those are both the same. In this particular one, I don't have the 34 EMA on the chart, but I do on my actual trading platform. Just as an indicator, they're the same in both the small time frame chart and the large time frame chart. And a Bollinger Bands on this one as well. They're not as important on the smaller time frame chart, but they do kind of help give you guidance. And I like to have them on there in case I happen to have this chart up and I pull down to a daily. I'm looking at a daily. I'm looking at the Bollinger Bands within each time frame. The purple dotted line here is called VWAP, Volume Weighted Average Price. This is only really relevant on shorter term time frames, 5, 10, 15 minutes. As you can see, when you jump over to the daily, it just gives you 1 dot per day. It doesn't do much for you. This also, a little like the 200 SMA, acts as resistance and support throughout the day. As you can see, TTD pulled back this morning, had a little bit of a bounce, came off that line and came down. Again, if we're trading below that on an intraday chart, it's usually bearish. And if we're trading above that on a chart, it's usually bullish. And a lot of times the stock will trade above it, come down, bounce off that line and go. So we have volume weighted average price. The way we add these to our charts is we come over to studies, we edit studies, and then we can add them from the side. So the 8, 21, and 34 EMA moving averages. Let's see, moving average, where is it? Exponential moving average, right? We would add selected, it would come over here into our chart area, and then we would make changes to it. We'd hit this little gear icon, we would change it to 8, 20, oh, I'm sorry, 8, 21, 34, whatever you wanted. Change the color. We can, some people like to have the bubble on the side, some don't. And then when you hit OK, you go back, you add another one, and you start building this list here. Same with VWAP. When you do VWAP, you come in, you add VWAP to the chart, you hit the gear icon, and in this case, I like it dotted. So I have a dotted line and a color of purple, and that's what I want on my chart there. Same with Bollinger Bands. When we do the Bollinger Bands, typically we just use the upper and the lower band, and we make them this light gray so that it blends in with the chart and there's not a whole bunch of colored lines all over the place. But what we do on this midline is we turn off the midline. So the midline is not visible within the Bollinger Bands. It just makes it a little bit easier. Some people even have turned off the upper band because we use the lower band to support quite a bit on the daily charts. So that's a little lesson on how to get the 8, the 21, the 34 EMA Bollinger Bands and both VWAP and the 200 SMA on your charts. Generally, you can get all of this from copying Nate's TOS grid setup, but if you wanted to do it on your own or you wanted to make changes, those are the changes we make. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below, and we'll try to get back to you as soon as we can.